Okay, welcome to Let's Talk About Web3, episode 4. I'm here. My name is BetterCallZaal. I'm here with Ohnahji B and EZinCrypto. Welcome. How we feeling today? What are we grateful for today? You want to go
Real
first,
good,
B?
man. Yeah, man. Today's an amazing day. I'm grateful for tech. All time high season. I've been, blasting out making some new little things. Just yeah, it's cool because I feel like, for me, it's like another circle where I get to talk about the basics again. I get to talk about why the number one's the number one, like why anybody should even care about any of this. So, it's for me. I think like it plays a lot on my like my emotional state, right? I really like when it's low, like I'm still building. I'm not like like depressed or anything like that, but I'm really feeling it. I'm like, dang, I miss when it was the highs. So when it's like, like roller coasters coming back around like this, I get excited. So so yeah, that's all. Yeah. What about
Fire.
y'all? What about y'all?
I mean, I would echo very similar sentiments. Like you get when you start hearing or like, you take that first look of the day and you get kind of tingly and you're like, "Oh, it's happening. We're busting through 106. Oh, it's still going." Like you're like and you just so it's always like a celebratory feeling. You get those little jitters inside and you're like, "We're back, baby. We're back." And who knows, maybe we'll see, who knows? Well, we'll see. But it could keep going up. There could be a little dip, an opportunity to add a little more. So exciting times, right? Right around Bitcoin Pizza Day. I seem to recall this a couple years back. We had a nice pump right around Bitcoin Pizza Day. So it's nice when those things are in sync too. Like we get to celebrate like a really dope time.
1,000,000%. Amazing things. I'll echo those sentiments, of course. I'm also grateful for a couple things happening this week. I am now officially a homeowner, so very grateful for all of the things that can make that happen. I'm very blessed for all of the people in my life that are supporting us through that. Um, but also, that was yesterday, and tomorrow is Bitcoin Pizza Day, and I'm super blessed and grateful for the opportunity to be organizing an event out here in Acadia at the Ellsworth Public Library and just rocking it out with Pizza DAO, having my first event out here and just kind of like getting a crypto community together because it doesn't seem like there's much of a local presence out here in our local area. In Maine, there's some in down south in Portland in the big city, but there's 3-4 hours of area here that there's no kind of organization whatsoever. So I'm sure there's a lot of awesome people out there that just want to connect, and hopefully we can start to make those connections tomorrow.
There you go. And that's so amazing too, because it really puts into perspective, like, people will be like, how early we really are in this thing. And it's funny. Like I was talking to the bots, talking to GBT, talking about Bitcoin and stuff, making some little infographics, and it was like, just remember at the end of this, it's still early in the space. So I thought that was interesting. But when you're talking about things like that, like you're in an area where you could be the person that's organizing the startup events where you're at, which is like phenomenal and probably will be. I'll be on you, Zal. I'm gonna push you.
Hmm.
Like how the events going out there?
Yeah, we'll
In
make
the
it happen.
opposite corner from me, right? I love it. So that's big
That's
time,
Yeah,
super
man.
well, this
cool.
is the start of us making. So I'm gonna make Acadia ZAO is what I made it. I made a proposal
Yeah.
in the ZAO, put it out. You guys both probably need to vote on it still. But there is
Don't be
something
calling
out
us out
there
like that.
where I think it's honestly done now. I'm not gonna lie. Because I planned it for it to be done before tomorrow, and the goal is tomorrow to see if anyone's interested in helping support that vision, building some local presence out here, especially because we have some resources now. There's a lot of things I've learned in my couple communities that I've been in locally as well as virtually. So I'm just super excited for like there to be something out here and like eventually to have something a little bit bigger where some people from far kind of come out here. So I think this is definitely the start of a little bit more, and I'm just even if it's 1-2 people that stroll through, I'm just excited to see what happens and eat some pizza courtesy of
Heck
Pizza Down.
yeah. No, that's it, it's a super big and important step, even if it's not a lot of people, to start organizing things locally, because then it's planting that seed, and then you have like it's it's so great to have things where you can go IRL, because we spend so much of our time in these virtual areas, which is also really cool, and you can meet people from all over the world and see their art and hear their music and connect and collab.
Yeah.
But it's a very different vibe when you get to be in person with people, and to be able to be like kind of part of that like educating onboarding system IRL is super dope. Yeah, I did a Bitcoin Pizza Day thing in my local area up in Cali, like geez, I think actually it was 4 years ago maybe, and went to the pizza place and hung out there and live stream from there with Page DAO. And it was just so cool to see people's like reactions when they found out they're getting their pizza for free. And it was like paid for by the Pizza DAO, and then you tell them a little about it, and like the guy super excited, the pizza guy, and like he was from like Italy, and it was just like it was so fun. It was such a cool experience. So I'm sure you're gonna have a blast with that tomorrow. Nice work.
Yeah, no, I'm super stoked. I was blessed to go last year to a Portland Pizza DAO event and got to
So
see it in full action. That was kind of where I saw it for the first time. And then got to rock it out a couple more times at some side events, and just really excited to see what we can do around here. And even if not for that, start making the socials tomorrow in the 3 hours that I'm there, and start like building that presence and starting to get people after this, right? Be like, ah, look at what you missed out. I actually, oh, I might need to go and grab it, but I did get something in the mail today, so some cool merch. So if anyone does come, they'll
ooh,
get some cool stickers and maybe a couple of pins. So yeah,
Nice.
we're
sick.
super stoked. B, have you been to a Bitcoin Pizza LA event out there?
I haven't. I know. Shout out
Why
to
aren't you
Natalie.
going
Natalie's
tomorrow
tapped in.
then? Ba
God,
ba.
yeah, I know. I know. Put me on the
I know
spot, right?
you're probably too
What's
busy, but
what?
I
I
sorry,
probably
forget.
should look for. I probably
You
should look
should
for something and
see
see.
where it is. See where it is, because
Yeah,
there'll be one for sure in
it's probably
LA.
it's
It
probably
might
on the
be two.
coast downtown somewhere. But
That's bad.
no,
But
like
sorry, what were you
no.
gonna
Shout
say?
out, shout out to Easy for bringing up the IRL events and stuff like that. We talked pretty extensively last Wednesday about that. So yeah, if y'all haven't checked out episode 3, let's talk about Web3 from last week. It was a vibe as well too. So yeah, run that back. But yeah, I don't know. Z, I have to. Natalie's a big part of the Pizza DAO, I think, out here in the LA scene. So I might have to just send some DMs, see where the vibes are at. Yeah, it's been a busy week, man. It's graduation season, so I'm like,
Oh
whew.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well, even if you don't make it to the Pizza Dow party, you got to go get a slice. I mean, that's just like mandatory,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so for the shout out to the viewers watching and stuff. My understanding, like the pizza day pizza Bitcoin pizza celebration, that goes back to the lore of like when we were able, or when people were able to kind of use their Bitcoin in a IRL sense, a real world use case, and it was like pizza was one of the first industries that was kind of like, yeah, you can trade
Well, we
some of
should
your
talk about like
Bitcoin
the
for pizza.
background. Do you wanna tap in a little bit, B, and give a
I
little bit
mean,
about the 10,000 Bitcoin story? Because like
is
I
that
mean, there might be
is
some
that
new
how is
folks
that
in
how
here.
much it costs? Is that like
Yeah,
I'm
yo,
not
Dude,
I'm
so
dude,
not super
10,000.
familiar. Go ahead.
it's like $1 billion worth of
I
Bitcoin
mean,
in
okay,
today's
but
value.
like everyone always says that. It's like you got to put it in perspective.
Oh,
Without
totally.
that transaction, like it's not. That's the thing, right? Like, so it's like it's the same thing as the market cap value, right? In these crypto coins, where there's like so many numbers you can, just like honestly stocks and everything else, you can manipulate every little bit and everything. So it's like you have to really know every single thing you're looking at, and like what spectrum they're on, and like when one variable changes, how that affects all of the other things you're looking at, right? And I think that's one of those things you
Well,
gotta like always
and
watch out.
And I think it's Laszlo. Laszlo was the pizza dude. I think he has no regrets. Like people have talked to him about this numerous times. He's like no regrets. Like that.
Oh yeah.
That was just something I was stoked to be able to use this Bitcoin I had been gathering.
Yeah.
And like They were worth fractions of a penny, like some other like weird meme coin you might have collected that you have
Yeah.
millions of, and it's like 50 million is worth like 6 cents or what, you know. It was back in those kind of days, but for Bitcoin. So it is hard sometimes, I think, for people to wrap their head around that he's super chill, legit with it. And I think you're right, Zal. We might not be where we're at today if he hadn't have bought that pizza with Bitcoin.
Okay, shout out
Correct.
to
It's like,
Fellenz. We got an article here
hey,
that he shared. But yes, 10,000 Bitcoin for a pizza, it says here. So I think it was, oh no, it says two pizzas. Okay. So
Yeah, I thought it was two
10,000,
pizzas.
however much 10,000 is right
still
now, you can say speculatively, especially at all-time highs. It's never been this much, right?
right.
But it's just really cool to see, like, in the scheme of the Bitcoin timeline, this is one of the first recorded legal transactions of Bitcoin,
Yep.
right? If I'm
Nice.
not mistaken, I think that's a big
Yeah.
part of why this is so historic, because from then other people were like, oh, okay, you know what, fuck it, like I'll spend 5,000 Bitcoin on this or that, right? Like it's like it didn't
Yeah.
become okay, it started this IRL thing where it's like not, I guess, just illegal goods that would be
You're right.
exchanged for
Basically,
Bitcoin. And I think
you
that's
talk to
huge.
yeah, you talk to anybody from those days, and they were like not. They were basically buying, you know, things you smoke and stuff with their bitcoins and trading it around, like doing different stuff. So it was a huge landmark, and it affected the culture like so much. Like pizza is a big part of like we have the pizza DAO. Like there's so much that it
Yeah.
affected. It is like a landmark moment. So it's something that I think it's really cool that we every year we celebrate that day and that purchase, and that's kind of what got us going. And now look, we're sitting here at all-time highs, day before Bitcoin Pizza Day. Pretty stoked.
At
So
the
it's a
Like
time, it
cool,
was
you,
only
it's
worth
a cool
it's
goal,
like,
$41,
right. It's
right? Two
like the
pizzas.
long,
so that's the
like the long story.
perspective.
The long story
Sorry.
short is like you can't get to the point where we're at now, where it's over $100,000 per coin, if we don't have people that are risking their assets or they're playing with them early or they're experimenting them and trying to, not only have those use cases from the companies that are out there, but even having the people try them and experiment with those different things. Like we can't get to the 100K Bitcoin if we don't have somebody spending 5K for each pizza pie. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't get those different milestones until we hit that. So I mean, it's cool that to hear the people who kind of go through those different use cases and stuff, that they don't have any regrets because you really can't, right? If you're in the space, if you're in, crypto for that to kind of build the overall global mission of this thing, that you're gonna have to take some risks. Like I have my own Bitcoin stories, I have, you know, a potential bag that could have been a potential bag right now that it's been long allocated somewhere else to kind of build on the tech and build something else, and it's all part of the lore, and I don't regret none of that either. So
If
Okay.
you're in it,
So
if
go
you're in it
continue.
for a bit, you're gonna have, whether it's Bitcoin or it's like the punk NFT or the ape or whatever that is, you had opportunities where like, yo, I could have bought a punk from a friend for $1,000, but I didn't quite have that together in
yeah,
ETH, and so I didn't, and now they're worth, one just sold for $1 million.
yeah,
Like, so everybody has that. You can't like live kicking yourself for that stuff. You got to just
of
move
course.
on. You find opportunities. You find people to jam with. So sorry, Zal, what were you gonna hit?
No, I'm just continuing down this article that Fellenz gave. Shout out to Fellenz, amazing. I'm gonna add this in the comments, in the YouTube as well. But it essentially has also the other side of the story, which I have not actually heard, which is the buyer, this dude Jercos, Jercos, I guess. Jeremy Stuvant was his name, and he was 19 years old, right? But he stayed out of the public eye and basically spent it on playing video games and traveling the world, which is baller. And he says he has no
Dude,
regrets as well.
why not?
Which I don't know how, like how many years he would have had to hold that for that to be just like enough to, like,
Quite a
I'm
few.
curious, like, if he just sold a little bit off and he's been like selling a little bit off and like he's always been able to keep a little bit. I'm kind of curious because I'm sure he spent the 10,000, but like if he was in the game at that point, right? Like he was active in it while he was playing video games and traveling the world. I imagine he would be able to like keep his principle if he was good at buying things. Like at that point, it was less than half a cent, point zero zero
Right.
four, and it was $43, right? So it's like just some 19-year-old buying $43, right? So it's like depends on so many different factors, but it's just really interesting to hear, both sides of this story and just like how much both these individuals were kind of influential in the timeline of Bitcoin.
You can spend
Cool.
$43 pretty easy as a 19 or 20-year-old.
For real. No, it's kind of cool. Just like you guys were saying, like just to be able to like develop the lore of this whole thing, right? And different IPs comes like you have like pizza DAOs and different things like that. It's like you know you had to be there. You have to be there then. You have to be there now to kind of appreciate like just where we're going, right? So I think, and a lot of the things that we used to talk about with Ohnahji and Ohnahji University. It was like just build with intention behind what you're already doing. Like, if we had a ton of artists, musicians that were in the fam, it was like, they're like, well, how can I get involved? Just do whatever you're doing now, but kind of try to pivot or incorporate this tech, this Bitcoin, this Ethereum, this whatever, this crypto into what you're already doing, or what you're already passionate about, what you already love, what you're already trying to do. And then that will make the most sense. So, yeah.
And
It's
I think that can bring us back full circle, which kind of blew me away when you said you were talking to the AI and it was saying we're still early, because we've been
yeah.
saying that for a long time and it's still true. But I never heard an AI yet be like, yeah, don't worry, we're still early or whatever. So that's
Yeah.
dope. That is pretty dope. And yeah, it is still early. There's still a pretty small community. I mean, the overall crypto market cap, I forget. I saw something the other day that said where we're at now, and then end of the year, it was like we're at like, I don't know, 7 billion or 14 billion. And by the end of the year, they're projecting like 120 or something. So it's wild what might happen over the next couple years. So yeah, like people still have a lot of opportunity, which is dope.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Do we want to touch on the special of the day? Easy?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to tap into
Um,
Unlock Protocol a little bit and like what we're
yeah.
doing? And for the folks that are
So
here?
we decided today to make a little basically a giveaway NFT for people that are here. It's similar to a POAP. If you know about that, that's a proof of attendance protocol. They were kind of the earliest people to kind of coin this idea and make collectible NFTs from being at a virtual meeting or a IRL concert, or you go to a specific booth at a conference and they're like, oh, you came to our booth, here, scan this and you get the POAP, and it's a little thing with their logo, some cool little art or something. So I'm going to drop the link now in Ohnahji's chat. Boom. So if you go hit
Hey.
that link, it'll take you to Unlock Protocol, and then you can claim for free. You may have to put in your email, and if you don't have a wallet, you don't need one. It can go straight like to your email to be able to claim that. But it's basically like a little NFT. It's on the base chain, and so it'd be really easy to move around, very cheap. A few pennies, not even a few pennies, if you wanted to send it to another wallet or something. But basically, it's a little remembrance of being here today and a token of our appreciation. And through Unlock Protocol, you can do a lot of cool stuff. So this was the first time we used it to make something for today. But it spins up, like, you make this little collectible, it spins you up a little website. It can connect to like your Luma. It can connect to basically, like a Charmverse type organizational like database where you can be adding things from the show and stuff. So I've been in a couple of spaces with some people from Unlock, and the first time I heard about it, I was just like, oh my God, I need to like open a tab and write Unlock in there. And then it usually takes you a little bit to actually get to it, and then you're checking it out and you're like, oh, this is really cool. So I used it once for the Impact concerts, the last Impact concert, or the one before that, which was with the for the Gitcoin round 23. And yeah, it was just a really cool, smooth experience. Today we did have a slight hiccup. So if you go to claim it, and you enter your info, or you sign in and you hit claim, if it throws an error, just wait a sec, close that error. Me and Zal both had an experience where it threw an error, but then the second time it went through fine. So I had messaged the team and let them know that too. But it should be pretty easy to go and claim that little collectible, and we'll be making them for shows going forward.
100%, 100%. Yeah, do you want to say the link? It's
I
easy.
dropped it in.
So it's gonna be
Not-
ltaw3.thezao.com. What's on the poster? So if you go to that website right now, it will take you to our collectible, and there's 10 of them out there, and 3 of us are probably gonna each collect at least one, maybe two, right at the end of the show if no one else collects them. So definitely snag them if you're there. Maybe if you're listening to the recording, we left one hanging. But yeah,
Give my
again, thanks
hot.
for popping in. We're trying to test out Unlock Protocol. I think there's a lot of things we could do that'll be really cool with all these virtual events, especially with everyone utilizing Luma and this being a Luma Plus integration. So yeah, excited to start playing around with it.
Heck yeah. I'm gonna try and drop that over into your chat too. Nice. We got
I sent it
multiple
in my
links
chat.
here
We
for
both
it.
sent it.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool. Yeah,
we're good to
I
we're
was
good
just
to rock.
opening on the other device. We're
That's funny.
everywhere.
I
We got
love it.
multiple Ohnahji streaming, Zal streaming. Luckily I'm not streaming, but I got screens around me with multiple streams going for that. So it's fun doing
Yeah.
this
It's
stuff.
just a cool multimedia world, which I would love.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Bitcoin's at all-time highs. Everything
Yeah.
else. Where are we for the next however long? Like, where do you tell people to put their attention and time towards at this point, right? Like, I know
Yeah.
everything's now going to be going crazy. Everyone's going to be talking. Every person's going to be coming out of their closet, whether it's in a good way and for positive intentions or with negative intentions. So what would you recommend people diving into if they're like super new to this space?
Man, this talk again. We're back at the front. Um, just I mean, you have to start somewhere, right? And for me, people ask me all the time, well, what coin should I look at? What coin should I pay attention to? Start with number one. The number one's BTC for a reason, and it's been that way for a reason forever. You know, since this cryptocurrency stuff came about, BTC's been number one, and there's a big reason. So I mean, a lot of people will look at that number. They'll look at the, over 100,000, 108, 110, whatever. I've been seeing people on the timeline talk about we about to hit 200 way faster than we hit 100. And I mean, I see it. I can see it.
I,
But I think, people just diving into just number one, number two, if you want to, two Ethereum, maybe not. It might be a little bit more of a gamble on that one. But just start, even back in the basics, before the first like 21, 22, we're telling people you have to start at what I like to call the new banks, right? We're trying to go to this decentralized, trustless system, but there are some steps in between that you have to go from your, where your funds are situated now, like in your bank or your centralized, whatever you're utilizing, into, different steps to get there. I keep telling people, right? I did a podcast with Raven, shout out to Raven. He was asking me like, where do you tell people to start? And I was like, well, for me, I have to do my due diligence to kind of like gauge what I know about that person. If I think they're able to, invest or spend or play with a couple dollars a week, a couple dollars a day, a month, or something like that, or if we're talking to somebody who's like, no, I'm talking about I want to put, 1,000, couple 100,000, couple, somebody's like, I need to store some money somewhere, like I'm really investing. The conversation is a little different, even if you're just talking just number one Bitcoin, right? If it's somebody that I need to get started, it's my homie from, way back in the day. I know they're not a billionaire now, I'll just tell them like start with like as simple as like Cash App or something like that, or even just downloading like Coinbase or Robinhood, like all of those things that eventually we're gonna have to try to get people off of for reasons that a newcomer probably wouldn't understand, but you have to start at those stepping stones. So like for people, I'm not gonna tell somebody that's like I have a million or I have 300,000 to spend on Bitcoin, I'm not going to tell them to go look at Cash App. So does that make sense? Like it's like different ways to get people involved, but you have to go in and get them involved either way. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or you have a couple dollars, you have to get started in it some way. Some way, somehow you have to do it, and they have to do it on their own. You can't, this is not like a, can I send my money to somebody else to do it, to handle it for me? No. This is something that you have to learn yourself, and that's going to keep you the safest possible. So yeah, hopefully
And
that
it
answers the
it
question. It
does.
might not. Go ahead, Easy.
It takes a little bit of effort if you want to have the kind of financial sovereignty and freedom that the blockchain and Bitcoin and Ethereum can offer, right? It's not
Right.
guaranteed, but if you want that, you do have to put a little bit of effort in it. It's not just like a magic bean. You like, oh, I'm sending someone a few bucks and then later they're going to say, look, you're a millionaire. No, that's just not how it works. And yeah, exactly like Ohnahji was saying, like you can start out on some apps that are really pretty easy where you're not necessarily in control of that money, like a Cash App or something. Although you used to not be able to send Bitcoin out of Cash App. You could only cash out
Right.
there to dollars and pull that out. I think now you can actually send Bitcoin, if I'm not
You can.
mistaken,
Yep.
as fairly recently. But yeah, same thing I would do. That's great advice. There and sometimes if people are getting more into Web3 versus just like the financial aspects of Bitcoin, like if they want to be into NFTs, or if they're interested in like refi, regen, degenning out, then sometimes you want to move them more towards something like the Coinbase, God, I'm brain farting. Binance, because those can give you like a score in your Gitcoin like profile. So there's a lot of different reasons and different methods of getting going, but a lot of people also get intimidated at the price. The price doesn't matter. Like you can get $5 worth anytime. Like you could buy a dollar's worth, $5, 20, 50. You could do $5 a week, $5 a month. That is how you can start. And like
Right.
then you're like, oh, well, I bought now $25 and it dropped from 110,000 to 90,000. Great. This is a perfect time to jump up to $50 a month, because it'll
Right.
go up and down, but it's always eventually going up. So like, that you have to kind of take the fear and the emotion out and look at the whole lifetime of Bitcoin to be able to realize like, oh, this is not going anywhere. Well, except for up.
Yeah, but I mean, to answer the question, like for you, Z specifically, it's like whatever we see, if we see like a crazy run is coming sometime. Like I don't know when, but it's going to happen. That's just the ebbs and flows of the space.
Yeah, you remember when you were
Every
telling me last time we went through, you said you'll be surprised. I easily can now say
bro.
this to me too. It's like he's like, for those who've never experienced the cycle, and they're just like, can't even believe it. And I'm like,
It's
okay, well, you
yeah.
got to tell me when to stop then. If I can't believe it, right? Like, what is this?
We don't know what's gonna happen, but
But
it's
yeah,
gonna be some crazy pandemonium. No, I'm just kidding. But I think I think you're in a position right now to where you're looking at coins and projects and different crypto that has either teams behind it, or it has people with good intentions behind it, or they're building something tangible behind it, or they have the same mission and ethos behind it. Those are the things that you want to focus on and kind of allocate
100.
some different whatever your assets to, or whatever, start to chop up those holdings, right? And just play around in some different buckets, but in areas that you either know the people, or we talk about this being trustless space, but there's still people behind a bunch of these different coins, right? um the big top dog is decentralized, but a lot of everything underneath, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's highly centralized. It's maybe two wallets, two people controlling the whole thing. So you just got to be, just be diligent on where you're putting your time, your energy, and effort. And no, like I always say this, you brought up when we talked before, just know you are going to miss a whole lot of 10x's, 100x's, some big plays and different things like that. So and that's okay. We can't be everywhere. We can't be hitting all the gains. I always remember
And
hindsight is always 2020. Go ahead.
yeah, you don't want to be chasing what is hot, like besides Bitcoin, that like that's in a league of its own. In my opinion, Ethereum has a bunch of L2s. It's kind of its own thing.
Right.
Hopefully we see some upward momentum hit there too. But generally there's a little lag time, and then all what we used to call altcoins kind of got rebranded into shit coins, and now they're mostly meme coins. They will fall, some of those will have a rampage. They will like like something like ADA or what, like whatever, Cardano, XRP, like these other coins, some of them that have some use case, others that just don't, but have been around, or they're just a meme coin, like whatever, like Doge and things like that. Like some of those at some point are gonna explode. And when you see people like on the Twitters and on the social medias already saying like this coin's on fire, well, that means a bunch of those people that have giant bags are about to sell it. So you don't
Yeah.
want to be caught up in the hype and be turned into basically exit liquidity. You want to, like Ohnahji was saying, you want to go for something that you're like, oh, I know, like this is like really interesting to me. I've researched it. It seems so solid. And even like I have coins that I've held since like early 2019. I was reading all the white papers back then, and like, oh, this is a solid idea. They've got to have success. A lot of those are still in my bag because they never had success, bro. I'm waiting. Like one day I hope some of those alts hit and I'm like slang, 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 convert to Bitcoin, or like whatever. So you want to be like not get too spread out if you're starting. You want to have some diversity, but things that you can really believe in, or like you've known somebody that's talked to you about the team, things like that.
And lastly, man, the put most of your eggs still in that ZAO basket. Like build the thing that you're building, that you've been building all throughout this quote unquote bear market. I don't sometimes I think, and it's hard, but I want to tell you this directly. Like you've seen so much progress in the short amount of time that I've known you and I've known you in this space. Like I don't want you to lose sight of that. Like you are on this trajectory that is on Bitcoin's level, to be completely honest. Like you are far
Killing it.
surpassing a bunch of people, a bunch of teams and stuff that have run left, whatever, that have made millions of dollars. You are one of those ones that's like, no, we heads down, grinding, building this thing, got the mission. It's yeah. So keep that in mind too, and don't ever lose sight of that, right? That's super important. And the
Dude,
ZAO's gonna explode.
yeah, when I'm out, because I'm out and about quite often, and going through different circles, and when I bring Zal up, people are like, "Oh, damn! Like I met Zal. He's like everybody has something great to say about Zal, basically, and it's dope because it's kind of few and far between when you get somebody that's got the like stick to itiveness and also the passion and is like fun to talk to, like all those things is not like that's not your average everyday project. So I think, yeah, with what you're building and the people that are connected and the passions and the talents that are there, it's really gonna work. And it just takes like sticking to it and going through those like down times and just keep working through the bear. And then in these up times, maybe something really dope happens and then things fall off again. And you're like, damn, I thought I was there. Like we were so close, but you can't quit because right around the corner, like there it is again.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. That means the world to me. So you guys are both top in the top 10 of the leaderboard of the ZAO. Appreciate you guys' contributions, mentorship, just being there. And like, yeah, no, I'm excited to rock it out. I appreciate that. I shit you not. There was a moment today where I was like, shit, like, what do I do right now? And because like the last like day and a half has been nuts. And then like what it hit today, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put it in my pizza outpost. Perfect. Like I'm gonna take advantage of the situation. Not that it's gonna get a lot of traction or whatever. I was trying to put an ad towards it, learning how to use ads for the first time. Did not do that successfully. Had to do like its own ad. Apparently, is what it looked like. You can't do like an ad of a tweet you've created, which was interesting. Learned that for the first time today. But yeah, no, I was like, for a minute, I was like, ooh, like, should I start like allocating more money? But like, everyone in the last couple months and everyone who's been super supportive of everything we've been doing with the house have been saying like, always that going for a house and buying a house is one of the best investments you can make. Um, and yeah, no,
100%.
feeling good about that. And now it's like, okay, now I have a number. Like, what are ways that we can start working on generating this kind of revenue in the ZAO? And one of the things I've been super appreciative of is individuals in the ZAO like Hurricane who have found ways to contribute like crazy by creating something like Wave Wars, creating the first kind of project of the ZAO period, something that's going to spread the ZAO IP, I believe, worldwide, as well as now has created a whole application for it, a decentralized application and potential source of revenue for the ZAO, which is amazing. He's also in that time been able to take on another dev project as a consultant and bring in money from another platform that he's built, that hasn't been released yet, but he's brought that money and he's gonna be bringing it towards the ZAO, which is just an amazing help. And just like being able to start creating those um, what is it called? Consistent revenue streams. There's a word for it. But those like monthly things that you can find to help support the different individuals that are here that are building and doing these things. And I think the way we've created the Respect Token, we're going to be coming up on a year. I think next week in a couple weeks. Here at the end of May, and I'm just like really stoked to see like where we can rock it out with fractals. It's been nuts to like think about that year and a year and then a year before. Um, my daily routine involves me looking at my journals for the last 3 years of what the day is currently and seeing like, okay, what was I thinking during this time? Like where was my mind at? Sometimes it's kind of just blank. Other times it's like a really good thought for me. And then sometimes there's a deja vu moment where it's something that already happened today, and I was like, oh fuck, this
Dang.
exact same thing happened a year ago, or like this concept got re-brought up recently in the past, and it's like, okay, now it's like, okay, I need to pay attention to this. And I think, I don't know who said it, but someone said everyone always keeps those links and like puts it in a notes and you never see it again. I like the concept of doing that. And then also I'm like, okay, I put it in my notes. I've heard about it. I kind of know that it's in my notes. If I hear about it again, that's when I'm gonna start looking into it, right? Because it's like any one person can tell you any garbage thing is out there. Then you hear it from a second person, and you're like, okay, two different people, and if they're in different groups, are telling me about this one whatever, right? More people start telling you about it. More trusted people start telling you about it. You have more conviction in these things, right? And I think that's a super important thing to start building is like, okay, what are we looking into? What are we building? I asked the question like, if you were new to the space, would you recommend? If I was asked that question, I would probably say, in addition to looking into how Bitcoin works, like that's the key, how Bitcoin works, not just like what Bitcoin is, but like how it works, how the technology works. Look into how these other blockchains that are out there work. That's the key. Don't look at what the price is because, to be honest with you, the straight up price is a multiple of something else, right? And then you look at any of those other statistics you can look at to compare things by just straight up numerical evaluation, and none of those can equate to understanding the fundamentals of the different pieces of blockchain and what their pros and cons are. And I would say if you're ever interested in like someone tells you about a coin, someone tells you about this, someone tells you about that, you go and you do that due diligence and research initially. But like a lot of people take that to like, okay, what's the price at? Where has it been? Let me do technical analysis on the price. My recommendation would be to like look at the fundamentals and like do it's always a lot harder because it's not just a straight number, right? But one of those things can be to put it in your back burner and ask your trusted sources. Like a lot of the things I heard about in my first 2 years, year and a half, I would reach out to Ohnahji B about. I'd be like, yo, have you heard of this? What do you think about this? Or if I had an idea that I wasn't sure had been implemented before, I'd reach out and be like, hey, what do you think about this? So I think there's a lot of different resources you can do other than just straight scouring the internet. Using your trusted sources are probably the best way, right? Like I take a lot more like effort to go check a coin and like the price if it's from someone in the ZAO. If they say something in any chat, whether it's the ZAO chat or not, I take a lot more of an effort in that. That's probably the only time I will take an effort into like looking into something. But if I see something come around a couple times on the timeline through people from someone who literally tells me, like even Candy sends me like 4 or 5 things a week where it's like sometimes I catch them, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's so much raw talent, energy, firepower here that doesn't have the that has the long-term capacity to, like you said, push through and persevere. I think the community we've been able to build and have around me is a huge part of that blessing, and a huge reason why I keep pushing forward, and appreciate everyone who keeps on rocking it out. So yeah, no, what are we gonna get to next? Let's talk about
Well,
something.
we didn't hit yet on pods,
Oh, that's true.
which is super exciting. If you want to tell them a little bit, I'm just super hyped that we've got this podcast now is available to collect as an audio podcast on Pods, which is a platform that's been around for quite a while. It's probably one of the top, at least in Web3, one of the top podcast platforms. And the cool thing about this is that like you can go to the website and get it, of course, but if you happen to be on like Warpcast, which is going to be Farcaster by like next week, there are the mini app frames. And so you can collect, like if someone just posts like, oh, if we post it or someone is like, yo, I collected, let's talk about Web3, and they share that little link, you can buy it without like having to go anywhere else. You can just click like, oh, I want to collect this. And it brings up a little thing right there. And you're like, oh yeah, I'll sign that, dollar and collect the pod. So, and then another cool thing about pods is if you do share that you purchased one and you do that on your social media and somebody does purchase it through your link, you get a little reward. So I know that a few times in the past I collected some rewards from people purchasing. I think it was the Mars, the Matthew and Rizzle show, which I collect so usually because they have a great podcast too. But I had been like, oh, I bought this podcast, put up a little post, and someone else clicks my link to go through to it and buys it, and you wind up, it's not a lot, but if a couple people buy it, you're like, oh, that equates to maybe like picking one up free next time every couple of times. So pods is pretty dope.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Well
I'm super
said.
stoked
Well said.
about pods. Episode 0 and 1 are up. Go collect them. I think once we get to all the episodes are live and we're starting to push them regularly, we will probably cut the collectibles there and start just doing them once a week during the time, and then when the next one's out, we'll end the old ones. But I think like rocking it out, leaving it up, trying to get as much distribution as we can, and building. B, you said I think you gotta head out here in a moment or two, so we
Yeah.
appreciate you popping in here. I know you'll be in the
Oh,
chats, keeping it with us. Do you want to give
yeah.
us a topic to like leave us off on for like a
Mm,
thought? At Bitcoin all-time highs, what should we be having as a part of the conversation right now?
just what's new about the space this time, which is probably mobile heavy, right? We were desktop heavy when I first got in, but it's mobile heavy now. AI is going to make a huge impact. We're at a point now where like you're coding up bots for the Discord community that we did. That wasn't really a thing in 21, 22. Like some people, some developers and stuff could have done that. They're making their own bots and stuff, but like just that mobile and AI now paired with this is, I'm telling you, like we're gonna see some stuff that's like, wait, what? So I can't wait.
Dude, for sure, for sure. It's gonna get crazy. Because yeah, the access
Okay.
is now almost unlimited. Before you had to have always a pleasure.
Yeah, cheers,
Um,
100%.
you used to have like there were a few different wallets that were popular. There were a few exchanges that were popular, but now there's just dozens of big exchanges and probably hundreds and hundreds of like little ones. You've got hundreds of wallets. You've got like Ohnahji was just saying, AI. So there are AI agents right now that can do purchases for you. Like there was one called Wayfinder AI that like maybe close to a year ago, I think, a friend mentioned it on the Whip. Actually, yeah, it was Show who does the afties at the Thursday Whip meetup, and he was like, "Yo, this AI agent stuff is going to be coming down the pipeline. Here's one where you can kind of start getting involved, and if you kind of participate now, there's going to be probably an airdrop later." And that airdrop did come. It's called Prompt as their token. So you like I put in, I don't know, $10 worth of ETH, and then later it's like, oh, now if you put like $10 on BNB chain or on, Base, like there was like four or five chains I think that it's on. And so if you had deposited a little bit into each of those, you wound up getting an airdrop. And then I guess you use this prompt. I've only checked it out once, and I like played with it a little. I didn't actually tell it to do my purchase because I just wanted to see like how it was and how it worked. But it was really cool. I was like, okay, if I want to buy let's see, what was I checking? Oh yeah, I was like, if I want to buy Wallet Connect coin, first of all, tell me what chains it's on. And it was like, well, WCT, Wallet Connect coin, is only on Ethereum. And I was like, oh, interesting. So what if I want to buy just $10 worth of USDC into WCT, into Wallet Connect coin? It was like, oh, well, you have USDC, but it's on Base. So you don't have USDC on Ethereum. You do hold some Ethereum. Would you prefer to just make the Ethereum swap so you don't have to pay for a bridge? And I was like, oh, well, let's hold off a minute. So I was just checking it out, but it was like, it was ready to go. It's like, just press yes at any of these times, and it gives you a breakdown of the gas and any other fees, platform fees, and it basically runs these simulations for you. So you could just check all these different kind of options. And I'm pretty sure I didn't fully check this out, but I'm pretty sure I could leave it to like, okay, buy this coin from, my holdings of that coin when it hits this price. So I'm pretty sure it could do a limit order for you too. So we already have like AI agents that can do trading for you, and you just need to know simple basic commands and know what you want and what you have, and you can be like, I want you to trade this for that for me when it hits this price. And it, as long as you sign that like ultimate yes, it's just going to do it on its own.
Yeah,
Pretty
no,
crazy.
that's nuts. I think Onaji like said like what's new this time. Like we could talk about a year ago, and that is applicable, and we could also talk about like last bull market, like whether or not we're in a bull market or not. I mean, anything can happen at any point, right? That's the thing. But 4 years ago, 2021, like L2s weren't really a thing. Like I think people
Hardly.
forget about that. Ethereum gas fees were really high, right? Like that's what we were dealing with, and like to think about where that was to where we are now, kind of feels Stone Agey, right? So it's like if you think about coming into the space at this moment, it's like it's actually an opportunity because you can leverage a lot of these tools that are kind of coming out, and just so many opportunities to just get involved and try things out and take your share of this kind of next spot on like how we create the digital space, hopefully. And then we want it to be a positive space. So another big thing we say in this space is touch some grass, right? Get outside, go make sure you are taking care of yourself, be healthy, right? Like all these very important things that are involved with being mindful with how you live, and also including that in your digital presence and learning everything you do over here, and not getting kind of carried away, because there's a lot of dopamine just like the internet, that and there's lots of opportunities for negative things. So yeah, that's the kind
Yeah.
of like my 2 cents.
And also how you treat, like, so how you treat yourself and how you treat other people, because you never know what other people are going through, what stresses and hardships or hit them the day before this or whatever. So sometimes we might get a little bit short because a lot of stuff's going on in our lives, and you just kind of want to be like, it just all, and even just to like a friendly, kind word to someone might just kind of make their day when they're posting something and it's got no likes and no comments, and you're like, well, that's actually pretty cool. Like, take just a moment and be like, yo, I like what you did, or that's a cool poem or a picture or whatever, and that might like be like the thing in their day that turns it around. So, as kind of we're still a small community compared to other markets and stuff like that, and there's a lot of great people out here. And I think you also made a great point about the L2s and the gas fees. Like in the earlier days when we'd have these, either a bull run or like a pump, it was crazy. You could, like, if you're just a small guy like me, like if you're not trading like, and I wasn't even able to trade like hundreds of dollars at a time. So it wasn't worth it to pay like 15, $20 gas or something to trade like $16 worth of a token. You're paying more gas than you even have value. And I was shocked late last night. I was like, oh, stuff's pumping. I'm gonna go through a couple of my old coins and see. And there was a couple that were up, but gas was like 650 to do a swap from like one of these coins that I had. Again, it was like $20 worth of some coin. So I was like, well, it's not worth it for me right now.
Mhm.
We'll see if it kind of settles out and Ethereum isn't got so much traffic, but there's still some of these gains. So you always have to be mindful about the fees that you're paying, especially if you're on something like an Ethereum L1. But so many opportunities for people to get in, now with probably a lot of these wallets,
You know what?
or
I have a
or
question for you, real quick.
yeah, yeah.
On that, before we go, we have 4 minutes here before we have to sign off. I heard from someone in the South that artists and collectors value art that is posted to Ethereum mainnet. And I was curious if you found that in your travels. And then, okay, now if we're creating one of ones, we're creating for very, specific collectors. Maybe that high gas fee is not something that, even if you are doing that in this day and age, right, and you have these other opportunities and things you want to be on, right, like there is some of these benefits to just like building straight on these chains, right? Like a lot of people are super all about these Bitcoin ordinals because they're built into the metadata of the Bitcoin blockchain. So they see that as the most permanent thing that you can be
Totally.
doing in this space. So I think there's a lot of things you can always look at. I'm curious, ETH mainnet, have you seen collectors like be like, oh, like this is on
Dude,
base, I'm not collecting it?
for sure. It generally, I mean, and this isn't across the board, but to generalize, it's not to a serious collector, and even to myself. I've been collecting NFTs for what, 7 years now. I value a piece of art on Ethereum higher than I do on Base. And an example, I spent $1.50 and I got a couple of these Base squiggles the other day. They're $1.50 on Base. That's great. Now a squiggle on Ethereum is like, I don't know, 6 to 10,000, because I haven't checked lately. So and also the original squiggle is the original, and it's also on Ethereum. Now these other kind of like tributes and stuff, they're fun. They're not just a
Yeah,
static
so
image.
I'm
They're
not
like,
I'm not
they
talking about
move.
necessarily like tributes or like what's it called? There's a specific thing where there's like a knockoff version of it or a continuation. I'm not talking about that.
Right,
I'm talking
right.
about like straight up I'm making new art. I'm just
But yeah,
doing
no,
like
that
but
was
I
just
I
as
get
an
your point.
example. Like for
Yeah.
myself, I'm not gonna pay
Hmm.
probably top dollar for an art collectible on Polygon, Ethereum, Optimism, Arbitrum, Base as likely as I would if it's on Ethereum mainnet, and partially because there's a lot of the art from the early days, especially, and still, is being minted on Ethereum. It's just a part of the culture. It is that base layer, sort of like why people are excited, like you mentioned, about buying on Bitcoin, because it's the OG granddaddy blockchain. Like it's very secure. So yeah, I definitely know plenty of people that think Ethereum is always going to be that high end art blockchain, whereas things will kind of fly faster and cheaper on the L2s. Not to say that there might not be a high priced piece of art that people are willing to buy on an L2, but from the collector base I know, myself
Interesting.
included, there
Hmm.
is a premium that is placed on getting an NFT on Ethereum. So yeah, especially if you're talking about a piece that is, you know, multiple ETH, then $6, $20, $50 gas, it doesn't matter. Like you're dealing with thousands of dollars of value in this one piece of art. So yeah, there's definitely that has, you know, absolutely there's some truth to that wherever you're hearing that. And it's not to say that it's everybody's preference, but there is absolutely
Hmm.
a base of collectors and artists that feel strongly about it.
Very cool. I appreciate it, Easy. Amazing
Yeah.
having you here. Awesome having Ohnahji B. Do you want to have any closing words as we get off here? Yeah.
Just to remind people to go and grab that unlock protocol key if you're still around. And yeah, other than that, you know, hodl the vibes and ride these highs. And we'll see you next week.